Hey everybody, Mav Hunter here. Well, it's a cold, but it's warming up fast. Typical Arizona day. It's in the low 30s overnight and then warms up to about the mid 60s, low 70s. So I found myself, I'm down here in the oak, in the creek bottom, where a lot of white oaks grow. And there's no real acorn feed here anymore, although I see a couple squirrels running around here. But when there's heavy mass, the deer feed a lot in these creek bottoms where these white oaks are growing. But over the years hunting in this area, I've seen a lot of bucks chasing does through this oak creek bottom here. You really can't still hunt through that, it's too noisy, but I usually pick a spot and a stand and then just wait, because you can hear the deer coming in those oaks. What's really nice is there's a creek, a spring creek right here, 400 or 500 yards to half a mile up. It's the dry creek bed, but right here it bubbles out. So I've got H2O, which is key here in Arizona to finding deer. Got a lot of feed, got a lot of cover. The rut is just starting to get going for these Coues bucks. So we'll see if something runs its way through. I've witnessed several small bucks running does up through these oak trees, these white oak trees behind me. And actually down there about 200 yards is a very old tree stand, a metal tree stand, where the tree stand is so old the tree has grown around it, and it's up there about 18 feet high. So a long time ago there was another archer that used to hunt right in here. So the nice thing about here is I've got a running creek right here behind me, and it's about 10 feet wide, but it's only a trickle. So at most it's only a couple inches deep, but it's water. And that's the key, H2O, when you're out here in Arizona. I'm a little bit higher elevation in the desert. I'm up here around 4,500 feet in elevation. So I've got a lot more conifer trees. And then along the creek bottoms, these white oak trees grow quite a bit here. You can't walk through that because it's pretty noisy, but you can hear the deer coming through those leaves, that's for sure. All right, everybody. Well, stay tuned. See if old Mav can get lucky here. And here you can see the creek source. During a rainstorm, this is a real gusher, but this is bubbling out up there about 80 yards. And then for a half mile or so above it, it's nothing but dry creek bed. So it's a spring coming out, forms this tiny little creek here. As I mentioned, it's only a couple inches deep, but it's water. And there's numerous deer trails coming out of the hills down to this water with a lot of good fresh deer tracks as well. But they're probably coming down late evening, or I'm thinking at night, to get their drink, but we'll see. These Oak Creek bottoms are great places to hunt, but they're pretty brushy. There's a lot of sticks and such hanging all over the place. I'm wondering how I'm ever going to thread an arrow through here. Shooting lanes are very limited at best. Wish I had my tree stand, but I didn't expect to use a tree stand today, and I left it back at home. I waited for just about 2 hours, finally talked to one of the hunters that came down from the mountain. And they said they thought they had missed one of those 2 bucks, but they didn't even go over and look for blood. They just walked on out down the trail. So after the 2 hunters jumped in there side by side and took off down the Forest Service road, I decided to walk over in the area of where I saw those 2 bucks and the does and just look for signs. I was rather surprised they didn't come over here to check for signs of a hit. So I made my way over to this area just to take a look around. And I'm finding what I thought I would find, lots of deer tracks, a lot of good fresh trails. The Oak Creek, those white oaks in the creek are just like 100 yards inside of this tree line, so the deer have been running this edge all morning. I looked back toward the hill and took a hit on it with my rangefinder. I had to change my rangefinder to rifle mode, and yeah, the edge of this clearing next to the thick brush in the bedding zone, it's definitely tracked up pretty well. But the tracks don't lie. There's deer here. Still not finding any blood. Still finding gray hairs scattered amongst the grass and the leaves. I continue my search just to see if there had been a hit that had been scored on any of those 2 bucks. So just taking my time here, doing the diligence that I would have thought the rifle hunters would have done, just checking to see if they might have had a lethal hit. I couldn't see the deer once they started shooting because I had been started on my stalk and I was behind some bushes. I had my camcorder rolling on my stalk. That's when I heard the rifle shots. I automatically turned my camcorder toward the sound of those shots. It sounded like the shots were coming right at me, but instead they were off to the front of me, off to the side in front of my position. But it makes me feel kind of wary. You know, I'm out here archery hunting. That's why you see the orange ribbons on my pack, because I know there's an active rifle permit season going on here. And I've seen a few rifle hunters in this area. And it's kind of strange, but I saw 4 hunters, rifle hunters in the field, and not one of them was wearing any orange at all. I look up on the hill and it's amazing. They're shooting a good 700-800 yards at these bucks. And to me, that's just a ridiculous amount of yardage. I don't care what kind of high-tech scopes you have. I think very, very few people are skilled, trained, or practiced enough to shoot those type of yardages. I had walked back across the meadow to the edge that I was sneaking along, and right by this cholla cactus here on the left, there was a nice 3x4 buck munching on that bloom, and he saw me and, well, he took off. And I could hear him go back toward those trees, and I lost sight of him weaving through the trees. So I'm going to sneak over here and just see if he's perhaps stopped looking back my way. Maybe I can get a shot. But he was a nice buck. At this point, it's been about an hour and a half after the rifle shot, so the area had a little time to settle down. Yes, I have an arrow nocked, just because I know there's a buck in the vicinity as I'm sneaking up to the edge to take a look around here. It's almost impossible to see a Coues deer and then nock an arrow and then get a shot off. So I always have an arrow nocked if I think I'm in the vicinity of seeing a buck. And that way I just need to draw my bow and get a shot off. But these Coues bucks are so quick and so fast on the reflex. I had made a quick circle through those trees for about 5 to 7 minutes. I came back out just to see sometimes the deer will circle around behind you and double back. So I doubled back myself, but there was nothing in the clearing, and never did get another good look at the deer after I saw his white flag waving goodbye to me through the trees. So I'm going to come back down here and pick up my camcorder, which is on a tripod system, and then continue back down the trail on my hunt. I'm going to go back into the thick stuff here about 300 yards down the trail where I think that buck might be headed. It's a nice little open zone back in the trees there. Hoping once again maybe I can get a look at him. It's pretty dry since I've been here a week ago, but there's some moisture that moved in, just a brief shower about 2 days ago. Because even in Arizona, you get a little bit of rain and the mushrooms sprout.